What if I told you that the Japanese that you've been learning is completely wrong? Hey yo, what's up everyone? My name is Muramasa, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're coming back, well, welcome back. In my 10 plus ish, no, well not 10, I'd say maybe more, like 5, 6. Anywho, I learned Japanese for a long time when I was a kid. And if there's anything that I've learned from my language learning journey, it's that a lot of the words that you learn and a lot of the phrases that you think are really important and that you use every day aren't really as common as you think. The same goes for other languages too, I think. In Japan, when you're learning English, one of the first phrases that you learn is "I'm fine, thank you," and "you" when people ask you, "How are you?" You know, and like it's one of those things where it makes sense, yes, but you don't really use it that much. You know, I've never used "I'm fine, thank you," and "you" because it just sounds silly. It sounds robotic. It sounds, well, you know, it sounds, you know, too uncasual, I guess. And unfortunately, the harsh reality is that this exists in every language that you learn, including Japanese. I'd say especially Japanese, because Japanese is such a nuanced language. There's so many ways to say so many things. That's why in today's video, I want to introduce 5 beginner phrases to you guys that you might not actually have to use every day. And I want to make this clear before we begin. These are really beginner phrases. These are probably like phrases that you might learn in the first 6 months-ish of learning Japanese. So prepare to get your mind blown. Alright, enough talk. Let's get into the phrases. A main factor that goes along all these 5 phrases that I'm about to introduce to you is that they're way too formal. Think of it like this. The next 5 phrases that I'm about to introduce to you are like squares. They're pointy. They're not flexible, you know, and honestly, they hurt, you know. If someone throws a square at you, that's just gonna hurt because that's gonna stab you and shit because it's got edges and stuff like that. They're too formal, and if you use them, there's a chance that, you know, you might kind of get like the wrong message across. You might sound unfriendly. You might sound non-humane, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna give you 5 alternatives that are like circles, you know. Circles are flexible, you know, they don't have edges, so you sound a lot more friendlier. These are more formal, more casual, more humane. So the first phrase that I want to introduce to you guys is "dou itashimashite." And "dou itashimashite" means "you're welcome" in Japanese. Now I know what you're thinking. How do you take a word that's so important like "dou itashimashite" and not use it? You know, that's crazy. And again, I get it. But like I said, "dou itashimashite" is the square form of "you're welcome." If you want to sound more friendly, sound more humane, you can use something like "ie, ie." All right. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you open a door for a pretty lady when you're about to walk into a building, and she says, "Ah, arigatou gozaimasu." You know, you can say something like, "Ah, ie, ie." What I don't suggest is just not saying anything. Unfortunately, a reality that I've come to face and kind of accept when living here in Japan is that when you say thank you to people, they don't really say "you're welcome," you know. I've honestly had a lot of cases where, you know, I'd say thank you, and you know, they just go, you know, they do like this Japanese head bowing. Yeah. Don't do that. All right, phrase number 2. Phrase number 2 is "watashi no namae wa something something desu." Okay, and this means "my name is something something." Again, this is the square form of this phrase. Yeah? So how do you make it more humane? How do you make it more natural? How do you make it more friendly? So what I do is, let's say someone's saying, you know, you're meeting someone for this first time and I'm about to introduce myself. What I'd say is, Muramasa desu, yoroshiku ne. So let me break it down for you. So instead of saying "watashi no namae wa nani nani desu," I'd say "Muramasa desu." Okay, really simple. "Muramasa desu" instead of "watashi no namae wa Muramasa desu." First of all, it's shorter. You save time and you save breath. It's easy. But honestly, you kind of want a little more, you know. It's kind of like saying "I'm Muramasa" in English. You know, it makes sense, but you kind of want to add a little more to it. So after that, I'd say something like "yoroshiku ne." You know, if I'm talking to someone who I just met, like a friend, I'd say "yoroshiku ne" or "yoroshiku onegai shimasu," a little more polite. This is kind of like the equivalent to "nice to meet you" in English. "Muramasa desu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu." So the next phrase that I want to introduce to you guys is when you say "no" in Japanese. Yeah. So let's say someone offers you a chocolate. "Chocolate hoshii desu ka?" How do you say no if you're like allergic to chocolate? And if you are, I'm very sorry. In that case, if you went through a Japanese textbook, you would use something like ie, and that's fine. But again, a little sharp on the edges. What I'd say is daijoubu desu. You know, it's the same meaning. It's the same meaning, but it's more friendly. And ie is really strong. It's like, no, absolutely not. But daijoubu desu is like, oh no, I'm fine. I'm good. We good. So let's say, chocolate hoshii desu ka? Daijoubu desu. Okay, so honestly, I think you know, quite a few of you might actually know this next phrase, but I'm just putting this in because when I was learning Japanese, I didn't know this one, and I kind of had, I wouldn't say trouble, but I was kind of like surprised. So the next phrase is oyasumi nasai, and this is good night in Japanese. What's hard about this phrase is there is really no way to translate the kind of like the nuance that's behind oyasumi nasai into English, because in English, if you want to be cold or if you want to be friendly, you just say good night. Oyasumi nasai, it's a little too formal, you know. Let's cut those edges off a little bit. What me and a lot of other people would say, I think like 99.9% of Japanese people would say, is just oyasumi. Kind of like the same with ohayo gozaimasu, and yeah, kind of like the same with ohayo gozaimasu. You know, you could say ohayo gozaimasu, it's polite, it's formal. But if you're like with friends or if you're in a casual setting, you just say ohayo. It's easier, it's quicker. So same with oyasumi nasai. You just say oyasumi. Okay, so phrase number 5, last phrase, let's get into it. The last phrase that I want to introduce to you guys is sayonara. This is like one of the most important, I mean, it's debatable. A lot of people think that this is a really important word because yeah, it's like one of the most biggest greetings ever. Sayonara is it's super sharp, super squarish, because sayonara is like saying goodbye. You know, if you say goodbye to someone, there's kind of like a nuance that you're not gonna see them again. Same with sayonara. Like a lot of Japanese couples, when they break up and they say, all right, goodbye, they say sayonara because you're not seeing them again. So how do you cut off those edges? How do we make it easier and more friendly and not kind of like a breakup-ish tone? Honestly, there's a billion ways to say this, you know. I could probably make a video just on how to say goodbye, how to say bye casually in Japanese. But honestly, the one that I use the most is matane. So matane is one of the many ways of saying goodbye casually. And this is kind of like see you later, you know, I'll see you soon. And yeah, it's really friendly, it's really casual. If you don't want to say matane, you can say something like bye bye. That actually works, honestly. You know, and if you're like casual, like super casual, if you're like with the boys and you're gonna say bye, a lot of guys actually just say ui. There's a lot of different ways to say goodbye in Japanese, but do not use sayonara unless you're not seeing that person again. Alright guys, that's all for me for today. If you got this far into the video, you're actually a legend. Thank you, genuinely. It helps for the algorithm. It helps for the algorithm, helps my video get out. And I've only got like 13 followers. I only have 13 subscribers as of, you know, recording this. I want them subs, man. So if you made it this far, you're a legend. Thanks so much. If you're planning on coming to Japan in the near future, I highly suggest that you watch this video. I think it's gonna be right here. I don't know. I still have to edit. It's probably gonna be here. I highly suggest that you watch this video right here that explains how you should spend your first 24 hours here in Japan. So if there's anything in this video that you didn't understand, or if there's a specific type of video that you'd love for me to try, please let me know in the comments. I need video ideas. Alright, that's all for me for today. Thanks for watching, weirdos, and I'll see you in the next video.